Hey Freebs Nation, Jordan Page here from funcheaperfree.com, and we are here at the cabin and we are getting ready for not one but two family reunions that we are doing back to back, no less. And you guys have had a ton of questions about how we host such big groups and family reunions and gatherings. We are old pros at this point, so I thought I would share with you our best tips and tricks. What do you think? Should we do it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Before we get to the family reunion tips, we wanted to just let you know that we are fully aware that there's all this COVID stuff going on, and our hearts go out to you if your state or where you live is in a situation where you're not able to gather as groups. Because like in Utah, we are in the yellow and we can gather in groups of 50 or less, which is why we all felt comfortable getting together, for those of us who are healthy anyway. So for those of you who aren't in the yellow yet like us, hang in there and maybe hold on to this video for the future when you can. Should we get to the tips?
Good tips.
Let's do it. All right, let's talk food. Of course, it depends on the size of your family, but for the most part, family reunions usually involve a lot of people, which also means a lot of food. After hosting hundreds of people at the cabin over the last year, let me show you what we have found to be the best way for us anyway. Maybe it'll work for you too. First things first, you need to divide up the meals. Now, you just have to figure out what works best for you. Sometimes people are local, sometimes they're traveling in, and you really have to do what's best. We figure out when everybody's coming and how many meals we need. Lunches, snacks, and drinks we do on our own per family. You can bring stuff to share for sure, but it's really nice for each family to be able to have their own private food that they don't have to share, so that their special things that they like don't get eaten up by a family that's bigger than theirs. And then we divide up the breakfasts and the dinners. We just calculate however many days we're there, we add up breakfast, dinner, breakfast, dinner, breakfast, dinner, and then we divide that by the number of families. What we have found that works really well is to set up a Google document that lists all the meals and the dates, and then you just sign up and you put your name and you put what you're cooking and what sides you're going to do as well, so you don't end up duplicating meals. And then whatever meal you sign up for, you bring everything you need for that meal, including condiments. That being said, one food tip I have is be sure to have the meals listed where everyone can see, so you can share condiments. So obviously, if I'm bringing ketchup, mustard, mayo, and relish for barbecue dinner one night, people can use that same ketchup for an egg breakfast, let's say. So it's okay to share ingredients, but you need to make sure to bring everything that you need, or at least collaborate so that everything you need is there. I have a blog post that has a ton of meal ideas that are cheap, easy, and delicious that feed a crowd. Things like pasta bars, taco bars, baked potato bars, and more. So I will link that in the description below. Check that out. Now that you've divided up the meals, where does everybody put their food? And of course, it depends on where your family reunion is at. At a rental cabin, oftentimes you will open a cabinet and find plates or cups. Well, what you could do is remove those and put them on a shelf or something else, and then use the cabinets as a place for people to store their food. Another option is you tell everybody to bring a cooler, whether they need something refrigerated or not, and the cooler kind of acts as a portable pantry. Here at our cabin, which we have a cabin tour and the behind the scenes of what this crazy cabin is and why we have it and the story behind it, I will link that below. We got some of these huge wire shelving units from Costco. They are far and away the most affordable at Costco that I have found for the quality and sturdiness. We love these. This is all stuff that is shared. Paper goods, seasonings, baking goods, microwave, dishes. But this one, these are all empty baskets or empty shelves that we use for each family. If you have food to share, you could set aside a communal shelf that has snacks or leftovers or whatever to share, or you could set aside an area of the kitchen counter or a table or something. We do the same thing with the fridge. Each family gets one shelf and everything that they bring is on that shelf. But the bottom, leftovers and shared food. One tip I have is to bring along some Sharpies, some tape, some 3x5 cards, maybe some scissors, and to have yourself a little caddy. We write the family's last name on a card and we will literally tape it onto their shelf and label it so that it's really clear and easy for all of the kids and cousins and adults to know whose food is whose. We do the exact same thing in the fridge. So we will label what shelves are shared and then which ones are assigned to a specific family so that nobody accidentally eats an important ingredient that a family needs to feed everybody for dinner that night. Along with food, let's talk about paper goods. Even if you do choose to use washable dishes, which is great, just be sure to rotate a chore chart so there's not one family that's always stuck doing dishes, and I will talk about chores in a minute. But for the most part, it is important to have paper goods because inevitably you're going to end up using some or needing some. There are two ways to do this. Number one, you could list out all of the paper goods that you feel you need, including number of items. So how many plates you think you'll need, how many cups, bowls, utensils, and then as each family is signing up for meals to bring, they are also signing up for the paper goods that they want to contribute. I will link to a blog post below that lists out everything that I recommend signing up for, but don't forget saran wrap, foil, and lots of Ziploc baggies for leftovers. So one way is you have everybody sign up, but another option is one person will pick up all the paper goods for the week and then everyone just splits the cost. I recommend going to Costco for this. It is the best price for the sturdiest items. And don't forget that the plastic Costco cutlery, you can actually wash and reuse. It's so sturdy. If you go the pitch in route, if you will, then at the end of the week, you would just divide up whatever is left and send them home with various families. One thing that we have learned is that you will go through a ton of paper goods at a family reunion if you're not careful. So here are a few ways that we cut down on paper waste. Number one, everybody gets a disposable cup, but you write your name on it and you reuse it over and over throughout the week. Obviously, if it's water, you can just dump it out and reuse it easily. If it's juice or something or milk, you can decide what you want to do there. But not only that, we also keep Sharpies by the plates when we serve dinner, and everyone has to write their name on their plate. Part of that is because then if the plate is totally clean, like if all it had on it was a sandwich or something, then they could reuse that later. But also it helps us to know at the end of the meal, if there's a plate with a ton of food on it because a kid got up and got distracted and didn't finish, we know whose it is and we can set it aside for them so the food doesn't go to waste. Another hack is to use wet erase marker. I will link to my favorites below, but if you take a plastic cup or even a ceramic or glass cup, you could write someone's name on it with wet erase marker. They can use it all day long and then it washes off in the dishwasher with water. What? Let's talk about activities at a family reunion. If it's distracting, okay, we'll do this. A lot of times it's just so fun to be together, especially for the cousins to play and the parents to chit chat. But we have learned that if you set aside some organized times to do some facilitated activities, it tends to not only bond the group and keep things flowing well, but it just makes for a more memorable experience. So here are a few of our tips. Since our family reunions are held at our cabin, Bubba and I kind of act as activities directors, if you will, or cruise directors, where of course everybody puts in their ideas of what they want to do, but then we kind of help organize it, because if you don't have one person that's kind of in charge of keeping you on a schedule or whatnot, then sometimes the whole week will go by and nothing will have gotten done. What we do is we go to the weather app and we look at the weather for the week of the family reunion. We base our activities around the weather. Today is the hottest day of the week, so this is the day we are gonna head in and go to the lake. So the night before, we gather everybody together, we talk about the rules for the lake, how far it is, we give anyone information, what they need to know, and then we schedule a time to leave so that we're all on the same page once we get up and out of in the morning. And one thing that we have found at family reunions is to have a really good blend of indoor activities, outdoor activities, and leave activities. Outdoor activities could be as simple as bringing yard games. I will link a bunch of my favorites on Amazon, and I will have that in the link below. but there are big yard games like Yahtzee or ladder ball. Indoor activities could be something as simple as big group board games, puzzles, ping pong tournaments. One thing that we do that is so fun, that is tradition, is at the end of the week, we have a big family talent show. So all week long, the kids get together and the cousins plan dances or skits or dad jokes or whatever it is. Sometimes the acts are planned, sometimes they are impromptu, but that's a really fun way for people to showcase real talents or faux talents. One thing that we did this time that was awesome is we had every family sign up for a group craft. So for us, we chose rock painting. We will gather everybody and go out and gather rocks, and then we brought everything we needed for painting them and decorating them. Somebody else is doing decorating sugar cookies. Face painting is another fun craft activity. So whatever your craft is, it's fun that each family was able to do something that they were interested in. They cover the cost of that craft and share it with everybody. The other thing you have to think about when planning activities for a family reunion, there are different ages and interests. Some people may love going out on a nature hike, but some people may just want to stay home and read a book by the fire, and that's fine. We make it very clear to our family that the activities are all optional and anyone is welcome, but it's not mandatory. Another tip when it comes to activities, make sure to set aside adult only time. This is something that we learned a long time ago, especially as you get teenagers that get older, that sometimes the teenagers would rather hang out with the adults, which is great during the day, but at night in our reunions, we say that from 9:30 on, it's adult only time. And the kids can stay up, they can watch a movie in the basement or play a game or hang out in their rooms, but we have adult only game night starting at 9:30. It is so fun. Oftentimes it's where the best memories are made and the most bonding happens between adults. It's just a really great time.
A fun thing that we're doing right now at our family reunion is a get to know you game. There's a bingo card and every square has a random fact about someone in the group. They're having to go around, find who it is, and sign the paper, and then they get prizes for bingo. So this is a really fun icebreaker game at the beginning of a family reunion, and also a fun way to get to know each other a little better.
Okay, let's talk about chores and cleaning and dividing responsibilities for a family reunion. It can be a lot of work, but that's why it's important to share the load so that it doesn't all fall on one family or one person. My sister-in-law made these charts and they are a lifesaver. So let me walk you through how we do it. First of all, wherever you're doing your reunion, divide it into zones, and I recommend choosing as many zones as there are families. Make a chart with the zones on the side and the amount of days that you're here across the top, and then you just rotate. The way that she did it, it kind of ended up being almost like a grid so that every person gets each zone one time that week. One thing that's helpful is to write out the area, but also some instructions on what could or might need to be done so people can refer to it easily. And at the beginning of the week, you just want to kind of have a little group meeting where you gather everybody together, you go over kind of the schedule or the rules or the expectations for the week, and then that's a good time also to go over this cleaning chart just so everybody knows what the responsibilities and expectations are so everybody can pull their weight equally. For our family, we have two cleaning checklists. One are just the generic zones, and you're in charge of keeping that zone or area clean all day. But the other one is a mealtime cleanup, because that's different. You know, putting the food away or putting the dishes away, those are all things that need to happen after every single meal. So she made a similar chart to this one, but over here it just has meal responsibilities, clearing off and wiping down the tables, the floors, washing the dishes, drying and putting away, and then putting the food away. And again, we just made sure to have 5 things because there's 5 families. We organized it in a way that makes sense. One thing that we love to do for family reunions is we provide a big bin or bucket for each family. We got these at Costco. They're very inexpensive. They're less than $10 a piece. And we just happen to have these at our cabin, but maybe what you could do is ask each family to just bring their own, which usually is no big deal because you're packing stuff in your car anyway. So maybe they just pack it in a bucket like this instead of a suitcase or a cardboard box. Again, I would take my handy dandy, what are these called? What are these called? I don't know. My handy dandy note cards, write their name on it, and then assign a bucket for each member, for each family. They can put their shoes, their coats, whatever they want, and it stays contained and it keeps things clutter-free for the most part. Unless you got a toddler that messes everything up. Guys, so those are my tips and tricks for hosting or planning a family reunion. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there's so much I'm forgetting. So we've got a huge blog post with meal ideas and game ideas and more tips that I probably forgot to mention here. Check that out. I will link it in the description. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Okay guys, I gotta go play some games. I'm gonna let you go, but thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.
That's nice. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's nice. Oh yeah.
Come here, Romy. Come here, you gonna help me unpack? Oh, no, later.